Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's episode of Matt and Rob Talk About F1. As always, I'm Rob, and with me today is...
George.
Oh, hi George, how's it going?
Man,
okay,
jokes are flying. You know, I'm just the best comedian out there. So, you know, if you want jokes, you just come to me. And
it's true. If you want to send us money to go to GoFundMe.com. I don't know. And you can see Matt's... I think we should do this over again.
Yeah, it's just I want some money to pay for my comedic classes. You know, I just want to learn how to make jokes. You know, that's really hard.
If you want to donate to Matt's cause to start his comedian career, go to GoFundMe, search for Matt the Comedian.
If you think it's the worst jokes and you want me to get better, just give me money and I'll go learn.
Exactly. Shall we talk about F1?
Yeah, I think it's better. It's safer. Let's do that.
Okay. Well, this week we had another race. It's great.
Yeah.
I shaved again. I put on my shirt. So we're back for more action. After we didn't even do a podcast last week because I was stranded in Wales in a storm. Had to try to camp and then abandon my tent and slept in a car. But that's a story for another podcast. This week we had the Belgian GrandPrix in Spa, which is one of my favorite tracks.
Oh, one of the best tracks in the world.
One of the best tracks. I think one of the commentators was saying that because it's such an old track, they're not allowed to make them like that anymore, which makes it even better.
Yeah, for sure.
Or not necessarily not allowed, but they just don't make them like that anymore. And the elevation changes and the high-speed corners and everything, and
it's unique for sure. It's awesome.
It's very, very unique, and it's really good fun to watch.
Well, is it?
Yeah, huh?
Was it though?
Well, usually it's
fun.
really good fun. But we'll get to that in a moment. Let's talk about our qualifying predictions from 2 weeks ago. Matt, start us off.
Yes. So for qualifying, you said Bottas, Hamilton, Verstappen, and I said Hamilton, Bottas, Perez, which, well, you know, you had the right people. I didn't. It ended up being Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen. Well, a classic, I'd say. Just what you would expect from a qualifying in 2020, really.
Really, really classic result for the 2020 season. I thought it was a bit ambitious to put Perez in there. From me,
I thought somehow like the Mercedes engine, the Mercedes like 2019 car would be there, but somehow Racing Point wasn't. At all.
They really weren't, which I think was quite interesting because I think it goes to show again that the copying the car doesn't mean you can copy the setup and really understand sort of the
apparently it doesn't
the details of everything. No, exactly. And then we had our Ferrari predictions as well.
Yes, you said Leclerc 8th and Vettel 10th, and I said Leclerc 9th and Vettel 11th. Well,
oh man,
what a weekend for Ferrari that was!
What a great weekend for Ferrari it was.
I can't even believe that really happened. Really, it's
the Scuderia Ferrari just top form this weekend.
I mean, 13th and 14th, like Leclerc 13th, Vettel 14th. I mean, there was 14th. Pretty much no difference between them, so it didn't...
Not really. I think Leclerc had the slight edge over Vettel, as he has done, this year and last year, actually.
But just, my God, the downfall is insane. I mean, where does it go from now? I mean, how do you come back from almost a Q3? I mean, they were almost out in Q1, like he was... Leclerc was out in by I think it was 0.002. I mean, it was so close with Raikkonen that he was very lucky to get out of Q1. So
it's absolutely crazy, to see Leclerc being close with Raikkonen like that. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't sound right. But Leclerc was P15 in Q1.
Yeah, and very insanely close to drop. So
insanely close. And I think Magnussen actually spun. Well, not spun, but went off the track, I think. Yeah. So I don't know if he weren't really that competitive either this weekend, but it was really close for Ferrari to even make Q2, which is so sad. Oh my god.
Oh yeah,
It's just
I mean, they are the only team who lost time this year, and not a bit of time, not like a tenth. No, like almost 2 seconds. That is insane.
it's absolutely crazy. We'll put the graphics or link to the graphic from I think it was F1's Instagram account posted it, and you can see. I think we talked about this before that usually race cars get better season after season, especially if the regulations don't really change.
And when you spend $250 million, you could expect some little improvements. It's like
you expect the car to go faster, and not slower.
Not 2 seconds slower. Yeah, it would be like maybe.
And I think the thing for me is that obviously you have the whole thing with the engine, and we still don't know what really happened and sort of what the settlement was they had with the FIA. But clearly, turning down or having to abide by the rules and having like proper normal engine made them very slow. But I mean, 13th and 14th just.
I mean, like Ferrari sponsors are going to start to ask for refunds. It's. Oh my god!
They should. I think they should. Yeah.
I mean, from bad to worst. I mean, just seeing Sainz's reaction also along the weekend to Ferrari's performance was amazing. All the memes that came out of him, like talking to Mattia, and like the description was like, "No, Sainz, you can't come back on the contract. You have to come next year."
Yeah,
oh
it's that bittersweet. It's a bit of joy for me because Vettel obviously got chucked out, and for him to leave the team is probably great. Like they're like bottom now.
Yeah,
they're not even the midfield team.
Like to leave last year would have been perfect for him. Just leave out. Like still good,
knowing what Ferrari is, if he would have known, then obviously last year would have been even better. But yeah, just to be like, AlphaTauri was faster than them.
Oh yeah,
and they have
by far,
by far, and they have the same engine, right? Like,
yeah, no. AlphaTauri is Honda, is like Red Bull.
Oh, sorry, okay.
No, it's Alfa Romeo that has the same.
Alfa Romeo. So
and Haas, like they were battling with the same engine people. Like they were all battling together because they all have the same engine.
It's still like they're neck and neck with the team that they sell the engines to.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They were slightly faster in qualifying, but.
And yeah, I think it was the big surprise for me was Renault. I mean, 4th and 6th. I mean, I wouldn't have expected that at all. Like last week, they finished the race 11 and 13 or something. It was very bad week.
Yeah.
And the engine was amazing this week. Like the straight line was insane. Which incredible for a Renault power unit to be performant, and that that much better than almost better than the Mercedes engine, which very surprising.
Yeah, I think from the interview, I think I read somewhere that Ricciardo, even though he was qualified in 4th place, I think he had the purple. His last sector was purple, I think, on his last lap. So that means he was quicker than everyone else on track. Obviously, the whole time doesn't add up. Which is really interesting to me because there's a lot of, you could sort of set up the car in like 2 ways. Either you have very little downforce and you're really quick on the straights, but you sort of lose time through the corners, or you get a bit more downforce, which, means that you don't have the top speed, but you sort of can get better through the corners and everything like that. And I think Mercedes actually went for a bit more downforce.
Yeah, they were really fast in the second sector. Yeah, the car was gripped up like it was.
Yeah, it was crazy, and it was also amazing to look at. And Hamilton's performance again, just
wow.
incredible. Like so dominant this weekend. Just
oh my god,
wow.
like 5 tenths in front of Bottas, like no chance. Like he was not even close.
No chance at all. And his first lap in Q3 was already a new track record and way quicker than Bottas.
Yeah,
and then he just topped it again. Like just went even quicker.
It was amazing. Yeah. Just
which
amazing.
Is insane.
And it just goes to show like Bottas is I'm thinking less and less a championship threat, to be fair. Like every weekend is getting like smaller the chance of him actually being like a title contender. I think Verstappen, even if he's in the Red Bull, is a bigger threat than Bottas now.
Yeah, and Verstappen was it? I think I got the times here. 1/100th of a second slower than Bottas, just like in qualifying. And it was just, I think he said they ran out of sort of electrical energy, which means they used it a bit earlier in the lap and then didn't have that, just the tiny bit. But wow, that's, for me, that's really exciting to see that that Verstappen and Red Bull can sort of take the fight to Mercedes finally, and that we sort of hopefully see a bit more of a battle.
in the race, the Mercedes had the pace still.
Yeah. So, but at least they're there. Like, they're not.
Oh yeah, they're close. Yeah, it was close.
Miles away. Yeah, or close.
Verstappen is there.
Oh yeah, okay. But Albon's qualifying performance was.
It was
solid.
Average.
I think yeah, okay. I don't know. I was gonna cut off some slack, but did you not think it was good enough?
I guess let's say Ricciardo was really good, so maybe he was. I think he was almost good enough. I mean, it was really, I don't know, it was cool to see, and at the same time, kind of weird to see Verstappen helping him that much in Q2. Just if he was holding his hand until the line to make him that's the only way for him to be third, and almost like a big brother that's hey, come on, I'll help you out and you can be as quick as me, and giving him a tow all along the lap. And it was oh, that's cool from Verstappen, but at the same time it's if it's the only way for Albon to be close to him, that's a bit weird.
Yeah. It was interesting, the whole toast thing, and seeing where cars were out on track and weren't, and Ferrari looked like they had no idea whether they wanted the tow or didn't want the tow.
They have no idea what they're doing overall. I mean, it's insane. And then we come back to that in the race too. Oh yeah,
amazing communications again on the radio, which was just what are you guys? What? How did you, what? I think it's just they're scrambling so hard and trying to figure things out, and I don't know. I feel like they just lose the ability to have that solid race performance, which is interesting because Vettel, in my eyes, has sort of actually gotten his race performance, a solid race performance back. So no spins, no crashes, no nothing crazy. The last couple of races were just solid again.
I think he has no pressure now. There is no pressure. So that's probably why everything is coming back to normal.
Yeah, right. You're the back of the. Oh man, it was so sad to see. Do you have anything else to qualifying before we jump into the race and talk about Ferrari in the race?
Yeah, just Racing Point was just okay. Nothing. I mean, I was expecting a third place from Paris, like I said in the prediction. So
yeah,
I was very surprised that they weren't there at all. It was very surprising how, you were expecting them to be very fast, from all the last races. Especially the last race, they were very very competitive, and this weekend they turn up and they are really almost nowhere compared to Renault, which was nowhere last week. So it's super interesting to see the different strengths in teams, and I'm not sure if Racing Point know what they're actually good at, because in the rain, as soon as the track is a bit different or something, they rain, they can't do anything in rain, and then fast track, the car. In Barcelona, somehow the car was perfect, and then this week it was nowhere.
So it's very strange. I feel like the teams don't really know either. I feel like Renault doesn't really know why they're so quick this weekend, or were so quick this weekend.
It was the engine too. I don't think it's anything else. I think the straight line was.
Yeah, I mean they sort of nailed
point.
The setup, and and Ricciardo sort of got the most out of the car. So,
and also the interesting part is Ocon was 6th. But he had a new engine, so a better electrical unit and stuff, and didn't manage. It was purple on the first sector, so he was faster than anyone, but he still managed only P6 compared to Ricciardo.
Yeah.
So Ricciardo showing that he's the Verstappen at Renault, making the most out of the car, and they're probably gonna miss him.
Yeah, but he's
Alonso is gonna be good,
right?
but
yeah,
we'll
it's
see.
Kind of weird.
We'll see how yeah.
Yeah, Ricciardo's career is just sort of a bit. I don't know. He's not staying in the team long enough for them to get good, or
it looks like Hülkenberg almost. A
little
maybe
bit
he's
sort
gonna
of chasing.
miss out on championship. That would be insane if Ricciardo never wins a world championship. That would be the biggest waste.
Insane, because you can see that he's got the quality, and the ability to do that.
For sure. There's no doubt. It's
yeah, I would like to see him in the Red Bull again. If I'm honest, because it's sort of the.
It was great
car
when they were both there. It was great.
It was great, yeah. I mean, Verstappen in my eyes still had the upper hand, but yeah, I don't know. I guess must have felt that he wasn't ever going to be the number one in Red Bull, so he probably the reason why he left.
Yeah.
Shall we move on to the race?
Let's go to the race, yeah, for sure.
Let's go to the race. Boy, what a race!
What a race!
Amazing.
Let's do the predictions.
Also, I already forgot about the predictions.
Yeah.
That's how important they are to me.
Okay, you said Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen. Well, surprise, surprise, you're right. 100% right. That's amazing.
I did say it was boring, but
yeah,
it's true.
Fair enough. Yeah. I went a bit. I was expecting rain, like everyone, and I was extremely disappointed. Like everyone. Like he was almost sure. Like Monday it's gonna rain. It's gonna be a wet Spa. It's gonna be amazing. Get ready, everyone. It's gonna be the best.
Yeah.
And then Wednesday was like 60% now. And then like Friday was like maybe like 20%. And then
we don't know.
Blue skies. Like nothing happened really. So that was great. And then like at 6 p.m. it was raining in Spa. So great. Just waiting for the race to finish and let's rain.
This is the second time this year, right?
This year
Barcelona
it's
was
the worst with weather. The rain doesn't want to come. And it's always raining somewhere, but not on the track. And then, my God.
Yeah, it was raining all around, and you can see the rain, and the rain's 10 minutes away, and then it's not. It's like, just give us the rain.
And
don't
we
give
need
us
the rain during this race. Oh, sorry, I said so. I was expecting rain, and I said Verstappen, Hamilton, Norris. So completely wrong, of course. But the rain could have, changed the whole thing. So who knows?
Yeah. The actual one was Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen, which was expected. And then we had our Ferrari predictions.
Yep. I mean, it was again. I mean, we literally the qualifying. The 13th and 14th was their pace. That was all they had. They just switched positions, so Vettel ended up in front of Leclerc.
Switched. Yeah, it was very weird. A very weird race for Ferrari. Should we start with?
They were getting passed by Alfa Romeo, and then
that's what I was trying to hint at earlier. I got the teams mixed up, but Alfa Romeo with the same engine.
They were just battling with them. That's it, battling with them and Williams almost, and a bit of us, and that's it.
That was crazy. It was an interesting race though for Ferrari because Leclerc had a very, very strong start. It
was amazing. He gained.
I was like, "What's going on? This is great."
He was ninth. He was ninth after the first, and then dropped completely.
It was insane how quickly. I didn't hear in the interviews why that was sort of the case. I assume it was the tires.
Oh, tires. It was purely on tires. That was just tires for sure.
So he could smash out a couple of quick laps on that. But I didn't realize
it was one lap really. It was probably just at the end of the first lap he was already getting losing position. So.
Well, yeah, I think he had a couple of more overtakes, but it definitely didn't last longer than 4 laps.
Oh yeah, for sure.
On those tires, which is just that's crazy. What's the point of racing on those tires anyway? I mean, other drivers could.
It was not really. I think the tires were so effective for him on the first 2 laps maybe, and then the engine just showed that I mean, you could have the best tires in the world if your engine is 14th on the grid, and you're gonna drop back to 14th.
Yeah. If you have a 2020 Ferrari engine,
I mean,
it was
soft. I think so. It was just
So then his race went from an amazing start to Ferrari strategy again. What are we doing? I don't know. Man, it's just.
I mean, if we start from the beginning, it was bad luck for Sainz. Just not starting the race at all. Just not even doing the race. Qualified well, but not even starting. So that was a shame for him. Could have been good for they were I think he qualified well, so it could have been a great result for McLaren, but sadly couldn't start. Exhaust failure on the way to the grid. So happens. I guess.
That was a big shame.
Just a bad year, for Sainz. On the on the lucky side, he just doesn't have any luck. So hopefully next year at Ferrari it's gonna be a bit more lucky. Who knows?
Good luck with that, Sainz.
Then the start, I think the only for the first few laps it was the start and the first 3-4 laps that were interesting. Like Ricardo was on Verstappen at the start, and then as soon as the lap ended, the first lap, that's it. There was space, and they never came close together again.
Yeah, it was weird how that like quickly dropped off from a very interesting start. Like the start in Spa is always quite cool.
Yeah.
Because the long straight, which sometimes even has four cars going into almost at the same time going into the corner.
Yeah.
Which is usually a recipe for disaster, but this time everyone kept
It
it
was
fairly
not.
clean.
It was not that insane. It was not the stop stream was not that crazy. They barely did a few overtakes. So yeah, and
Verstappen couldn't really challenge Bottas either. Like
no,
they were close at the start, but then
like they were like just like stuck to his back at the start of the Eau Rouge, but he couldn't. The tour was doing anything because he was behind Hamilton, and they just follow each other. There was nothing to do. So not effective at all. So a shame, I guess. And then lap 2, I think it was probably the for me probably the move of the year. I was like, Gasly on Perez was amazing. Like Perez,
that was amazing. That was
Perez
incredible.
left him like a millimeter against the wall.
Yeah, barely at his face. That was insane.
And he just stuck there. He was like he wasn't moving, and he just overtook him at Eau Rouge, which is an insane place to overtake, and just kept it in there. So just amazing. And the race for Gasly was amazing again. So this guy is just showing amazing results for this year. And then the engineer on his radio at the end was so happy. Like the whole team was insanely happy with his performance. So
that was really nice to see for Gasly that they sort of managed to get a very, very solid performance out of the car and everything. And
the first stint, it was amazing on the first stint. On the half
I was
amazing.
super excited for first stint. Didn't he get to P5 or something?
I think he was like P6 or something, and the safety car came in, and then he destroyed his strategy, and they didn't bring him in. And then at the restart, he was just nowhere, and then he had to stop, and then he had to just literally gain back again all the places, and he ended up.
Which was interesting to see because they put him on was it hard tires even?
He was on hard at the beginning, so the hard was amazing for him. And then after he didn't come in during the safety car, and then they put him on mediums, I think.
Mediums, and then his overtaking was then pretty solid still. He could sort of make the.
He came back. He came up
again.
all the way. I think he came up from below the top 10 to he was up to 13th or something, and then came back to 8, which was amazing.
That was really, really good to see.
So again, it's just probably the driver of the year so far. Consistent, just with the car he has, I think is for sure one of the top this year. If you go of course he's not leading a championship and anything, but with the car he has and what he's doing with it, that's probably on the top. It's probably top 3 with Hamilton and Verstappen. So it's very good
for
job.
sure. Yeah, really, really looking forward to seeing sort of how much more they can get out of the car and how much more he can sort of achieve. Yeah, really cool to see. It was interesting the crash at we were just talking about the safety car at lap 11. That looked pretty rough as well, and we had obviously last year in Formula 2 really big accident with 2 people involved, and one of them unfortunately died. So it was really good to see that they both got out of their cars immediately, and then they were fine. So that was good to see. But a bit of a weird.
We didn't mention at the start, but there was the ceremony for Anthoine Hubert, and it was good to see Juan Manuel Correa that was actually there, getting better, and he was actually there at the minute of silence for before the race started. So it was good to see.
Yeah, it was a really nice gesture to see, and then they obviously showed quite a bit of his sort of racing career and who he was as a racer, and how many people really enjoyed driving with him or against him,
And Formula One just released a video, I think this morning, on the channel, a really cool video about people speaking about him and who he was, and so it was really. And for Gasly, it was a really tough weekend. He was his roommate for I think between 13th and 18th year old. So it was for a lot of years they were together every single day. So it was actually a tough weekend for him, and it performed very well for him. So. Yep. But great to see a big crash, but no one hurts. And the good thing with the halo was that actually Russell hit the tire, and that's why his car broke. He couldn't avoid the tire, and He touched his tire, so he was fine. But I mean, if he was higher, the halo would have been there to protect him. So
Yeah, it was really good to see. I mean, the halo was one of those things that at first looked really horrendous, and I was always like, how does it even work for the driver? But like in terms of safety, works really well. And now you've got all the graphics that they display on the halo
and the cameras and stuff. It just looks, and you get used to it. It just looks fine.
Yeah, you get really used to it, and I think for the drivers, it's really, really good. And I like that Formula One, as much as they can, sort of trying to get more like safer and like do more for the safety of the. I mean, it's still effectively a coffin on four wheels with a huge engine at the back.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as safety goes.
Yeah, they do everything they can to make it good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and even you see like IndyCar was like there was a huge crash at the Indy 500. I think like 4 laps before the end, like last week. Yeah, literally like he hit the wall and then like spun out, like hitting sideways the entry of the pit wall. And it was fine. Like he just got out of the car. He was a bit like shocked, of course, but it was like no big injuries. So now like race cars are getting safer and safer. So it's super good to see.
Yeah, exactly. That is really good to see. I mean, it's interesting because they were saying it's kind of part of the job, I guess, because it's also the history. Sure. If you look at the history of F1, how many people have died in race cars during accidents and after.
They all know the risk for sure. It's part of the, I guess, the fun or whatever.
But
Anyway, Renault. I mean, that was again like they stayed where they were, 4th and 5th, just in front of Albon. Sadly, like how Albon had a bad start and then he gained the place to Ocon back in the pit stop, but then lost it again at the end. So I think it was like 2 laps to go, something. He just lost it again. So.
It's a shame.
Renault was amazing though. Renault, like what a strong weekend.
They're really good, and then at the end when everyone was sort of struggling with the tires, like the first 3 more so, Ricciardo seemed to gain really decently on Verstappen, I think as well. Yeah.
He was gaining very fast.
Yeah, very fast and fairly close, and a couple more laps, and that whole thing could have shifted in a different direction, which would have been really cool and really interesting to see. And it's giving me a little bit of hope for the next race in Monza.
Monza, that they're going to be strong there too because of the straight line, for sure.
Yeah, it's a similar sort of track or, high speed.
And he did the fastest lap, and I've seen that, they did, with the fastest lap, they scored 23 points, which is the most Renault ever scored in Formula 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because before, I think the points were not the same, so they gained less points. So that's the most the team ever scored in the history of the team, so.
Yeah, they've obviously been in the sport for
they won championships and stuff, but
previously.
They didn't.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Okay, that's interesting. That's an interesting stat that sort of has to be explained a little bit more. But it was amazing to see that he then sort of smashed out fastest lap as well. Yeah. Again, though, because Ricciardo has that bet with the tattoo, didn't quite manage a place on the podium.
But
maybe Monza.
Next week, who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to seeing that. And then I mean, solid performance from Ocon.
Yeah, it was there.
Yeah.
Did the job.
It's kind of weird because it's like Ricciardo is sort of the number one, like the Verstappen of Renault now.
Oh, for sure. I mean, he was still far from Ricciardo. He was still like I think 15 seconds or something. Like he was not close from Renault, but he still passed Albon and was just behind him. So
that was really important for them to sort of take the fight to Albon.
Yep.
It's kind of a shame that Albon wasn't. Didn't have that sort of race pace and like.
I mean, again, the problem is like they always have a strategy excuse for him. It's like this week was again they tried a different strategy from Verstappen, and it didn't.
Yeah,
pay
he
off.
started on.
But at the same time,
didn't
it's
he
like
start on soft or something?
Yeah, I don't know what he did, but it was just like a different. I can't remember what they actually did, but it just didn't pay off and something. But it's like, how much does it really affect his pace? I mean, he couldn't pass them at all. Like he was stuck behind the Renaults the whole time.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, for sure, it brings the pace down. But like, how much like really how like is it normal to finish like 25 like seconds behind your teammate? I mean, I don't know. They say like the commentator was saying like they really like his feedback, like everything is bringing to the team, like all the feelings he's bringing out from the car. But at the same time, I think they're also saying like there is rumors saying that if he doesn't come closer to Verstappen, they maybe are going to start looking to like to bring someone else, and maybe not even like in the program, maybe like someone like Hülkenberg or something, but
Vettel.
I mean, yeah, who knows? Maybe.
I just want him to have a seat somewhere next year.
It would be great to see him at Red Bull.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
I mean,
it's
I
fascinating.
really like Albon though. I mean, he's a great guy, but I think like he's not performing anywhere near where it should be. So
Yeah, it's true.
I think there's still like Fiat's place to be taken. So maybe like a very strong AlphaTauri with Gasly and Albon would be interesting to see. Less pressure, maybe he's going to perform as Gasly is doing, and maybe a very strong team for them that could be, and then bring someone with more experience to Red Bull.
Yeah, maybe Albon just needs a little bit longer to sort of get into the F1.
Yeah,
there's a lot of pressure.
You bring someone like Hülkenberg and Vettel, they won't be like threatened, or like at least on a personal level by Verstappen or something. They won't be like as much affected by the news and all the reporters, and like they're like very experienced and they know what they're worth. So I think
exactly.
The factor of like, oh, he's number one. Like I think it would be maybe a bit easier for them to maybe take this out and just focus on racing. Just sad to see like Albon struggling.
Yeah, it's all speculation still. So
yeah,
we have to try and stay away from where's Vettel gonna go, this time around, sort of thing. I mean, it was. I think the race overall was just sort of a bit. I don't want to say it because I love F1, but it was a bit boring.
Oh yeah, I mean, I love it too, and I can definitely say it. It was boring for sure. I mean,
yeah, and it was strange because the distances between the cars wasn't that massive. They sort of didn't.
Yeah. No, there was no.
Didn't,
was
end up
close,
having a midfield and a back. They were all fairly close. So much so that there wasn't enough space for other cars to pit. Because if you pit, then you what happened to Leclerc? He had to. It was like he was last for a couple of laps, which was so sad to see.
And also 17th, I think. The safety car, he came in and was left 10 seconds. Because the tire were not ready and stuff. It was insane. And then he forgot to switch his radio off. I don't know if they probably didn't see that because he was in French, but he was speaking like he left the pit box and he was like, "Come on!" And then he said like a slur in French, a very nice phrase in French. And then
very colorful phrase.
And then his engineer was like, "And turn radio off."
And radio off, please. I don't know if it was a bit. I think.
And then he tweeted that after the race, like, "Oh, sorry, I forgot. There was definitely not on purpose. I should have turned my radio off." And then it was just so.
But he's getting really frustrated with them now as well.
Oh, for sure.
The frustration that Vettel always had with them, over the last couple of years, Leclerc's now getting too. And
I mean, last year they won this race, and then he won the next race. This year he's gonna finish 14th at this race and probably last next race. So
probably, yeah. I'm not. Yeah.
So that's gonna be very tough.
The next race, the home Grand Prix for Ferrari.
Oh, I think there was a stat that Lewis could break at the anniversary Grand Prix of Ferrari in 2 weeks' time. I think he was beating another Schumacher record.
I think it's most leading. I think is it how many laps he led in a race? Is that it?
No, the kilometers. Lewis broke it this week. I think it's another one.
Oh, did he? Oh, I don't know. But there's that.
Yeah, there's another one.
There's so many stats.
Literally at Ferrari's home celebration thing.
That's sad. Yeah, so Ferrari's in 2 races. Not next week. The week after has the 1000th Grand Prix, right? I think that
I don't know I forgot what the anniversary is, but it's some kind of.
I think that is the anniversary, if I remember it correctly. Which is gonna be sad.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy to see that's going to be an anniversary, sort of kind of a highlight. It's probably going to be one of the lowest points for Ferrari in a very, very long time.
I mean, it's just bad stuff for Ferrari. Just to mention real quick, Norris had a solid race. Ended up 7th. Yeah. Great result really again, good. Solid performance again during the race.
Absolutely.
And
I wanted to see last lap Lando again.
Yeah, he
because he was
couldn't use.
getting close to
I
Albon.
think at the start, he tweeted at the start on the radio. They told him you won't be able to use scenario 7, so there will be
Yes.
no last lap Lando.
Yeah, it was a shame. So yeah,
because
But I
of the
think-
failure
yeah.
probably on Sainz car probably was the worry there. And then Racing Point, just to mention, like super average, like 9th and 10th, nowhere.
yeah.
Nowhere like to like even to fight with like Renault, like even Gasly was passing Perez a few times and stuff. So
Yeah, that's sort of the more surprising one for me. Is like, yeah, because they really should be better, and I kind of expect them to figure out the setup for next week.
I'm not sure. I don't think they're actually. I don't know. Maybe I think the engine is not probably the best there. I don't know. Like it's the same as Mercedes, so it should be really great. But I
It should
think
be good, yeah.
maybe the mix of the actual car with the engine is not the best. So maybe they are good. Maybe the straight line is actually not the best for them. I don't know. Really, it's a weird one for them. But I don't think they're gonna be much better next week. Like I think looking at Renault and maybe they could pass McLaren, but I don't think they're gonna be higher than like 7th or 8th. I don't think so.
No, yeah, that's fair enough. Which is weird because they started off obviously super strong this year. Yeah.
I think for the race that was pretty much it. I mean, for
Yeah.
me, again, not much happened. Like we said, I think it was sadly one of. I mean, the track. We even said like the Barcelona is okay. It's a boring track for racing. We all know it. Maybe it should be taken out, replaced by something. Maybe we will have a replacement by the end of the year with all the new tracks we're gonna go to.
Yeah.
But Spa, I wasn't expecting to have a boring race at Spa, to be fair. But
No, me neither. And I feel like it's.
is
I
it
don't
up
know
to
why,
the
but it
cars?
feels
Do you think it's
more-
up to the cars? Like, is it the cars you think that like the?
I think it's like the tire thing this year. I don't know, because like it was such a weird one again with the tires at the end of this race. And like I don't know. Just for me, it always feels like there's just a bit of weird tire management going on. Like all.
Also, like I
all
think
time
like if you look at the F2 races, it was really entertaining. I think maybe the cars like they can't follow each other that good in Formula One. That maybe also didn't help
Yeah.
because in F2 there was a lot of overtaking, there was a lot of drama and stuff, and in F1 the race was very quiet. I mean, they couldn't really
Yeah, I was
follow
just gonna
super
say.
close,
I
they couldn't
think.
pass each other that much. There was not like we didn't even see like a three like a 3 wide on a straight line. It was very like boring racing, to be fair. Just
Yeah, exactly. I think it was as soon as somebody had like a bit more fresher tires, they had a chance to overtake, and then if you sort of had similar tires, then that was sort of it.
Yeah.
That just really didn't make for an exciting weekend, which is really sad to say.
it was pretty much like
I
you had the pace you had, and then the order was like that. And if you pit and you ended up behind, the pace will bring
Yeah.
you back where you should be, but not anymore
Yeah,
in
which
front.
is-
Or
Yeah, very, very, very strange to sort of see. Don't know. I don't know. Are you expecting the same for next weekend in Monza? Or?
I mean, it's almost the same kind of track. I mean, it's a very, very fast track.
Yeah, very, very similar.
If they
There's,
couldn't
like,
really follow
barely
each
any-
other, I'm not expecting them to be able to follow each other better next week or like overtake
No.
better, which is surprising
Yeah.
because like I mean normally like even if you don't have a really strong car, the slipstream should be super good for you and you should be able to overtake, but it doesn't bring much excitement for next week, sadly. I mean normally it's very exciting to see a Formula One in one of those tracks, but weirdly enough, it doesn't look like it's gonna be something super exciting. Maybe like
Yeah, but
2022 should be actually bring back some actual excitement to like
Yeah,
close
I mean
racing.
that's sort of what I'm looking forward to the most, really, like 2022 for multiple reasons. But yeah, shall we go on to talk about sort of the next weekend and the race predictions and qualifying
yeah.
predictions?
Let's we didn't mention the Ferrari radio a bit. Like I just mentioned Leclerc, but there was like there was another Leclerc radio. It was very similar to last week in terms
Very
of
similar to last week.
in terms of strategy, and Ferrari not being very sure what they should do. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
Leclerc, do you want to? We are thinking of plans B or C, and Leclerc was like, Oh, but it's very different though. You should tell me what I
Yeah.
need to do. Oh, we're just
They're
thinking
very
about
different-
it. We're
very
just
different
thinking
plans.
about it though. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll tell you in like 10 laps. We just have to go back to Italy and think about it, and we'll come back to.
I just don't understand it, and it's the same. Yeah, I mean, Vettel had similar things where they like ask him, really push, and then 2 laps later, they're like, oh, maybe go to the end to the race. I don't know.
Oh no! But
Maybe
this
we'll do
time
that instead."
they had a solution to fix this problem. They're like just saying we are thinking about it. So it's not like
Yeah.
do something. You just do whatever you feel, and then we'll tell you in a few laps.
So for Ferrari are learning. They're learning to deflect and just be like,
it's like,
oh, I don't know.
if you do something and it's not the right choice, then it's your fault. We just told
Yeah,
you we are
exactly,
thinking about
yeah.
it. So hey, can't blame us.
Yeah, and but it also like if you compare it to like Mercedes and other sort of like engineers that are on the radio to the drivers, they always sound mostly pretty calm. But the Ferrari boys just don't.
I mean, the Ferrari team, like the strategist, looks like like those TV shows where you can call a friend. It's like that, you call Ferrari and you're like, "Hey, can you help me on this question?" Oh, sorry, mate. On this one, I'm not the best. Call me next week and maybe I'll be good.
Yeah. It's either A or B or B or C. But really, I'm not sure. It could be D. Bye. Well, thanks, Ferrari. And I think that's sort of I don't know, maybe Vettel's slight advantage at the moment because he has a little bit more experience, or a lot more experience than Leclerc, and so maybe to be a little bit more like. Also, I've seen a lot of YouTube comments on YouTube videos where people are just like, "What? Vettel did an awesome job. He was driving and he was the strategist for his part of the garage. Great, should have doubled the salary."
Next time he's gonna almost jump out of the car, change his tires.
He might as well at this point, right? Even though his pit stop was pretty decent as well somewhere.
Yeah. Let's do
Shall we go to
let's do predictions.
Go to Spa. Interestingly enough, this race in Spa was the last race with party mode, right?
Oh yeah, true.
So that's a new change. Obviously, they want to do sort of all in the spirit of getting the cars a bit closer together and not like having these little things teams can do to like eke out even more performance. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's actually going to change anything?
I don't think it's going to be that much. I mean, I think like if you're I don't think teams keep that much in a party mode, to be fair. Like I think it would be silly of a team to keep like 5/10, in a party. I think it's more like it's marginal, so I think it's probably not going to change the order of what it should have been like in qualifying or something like that. I think it's like you're going to gain. I think all the team maybe probably have this little mode and they all gain like a tenth or two. And then if you all gain, then it doesn't really change anything. Maybe like, if someone messes... I think the biggest thing that can change a qualifying is often a mistake by someone else.
Yeah.
I mean, I think like a party mode won't be like that much of a change. I think Mercedes... I think it would be very funny if they actually say like, oh, for the last 2 races, as soon as they announce it, we stop using it. And, that would be super funny for them to say that.
Party mode? We've never used party mode.
Oh, actually, this 2020, we just didn't even use it. It was too easy for us. We just saved our engines.
We just didn't want to use it. We have
we'll
DAS
do
now. DAS
we'll
is
do the
pretty
whole
good.
season on one engine. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, they probably could. I don't know. Like, they seem pretty reliable.
But I don't think...
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think it's going to bring something
I mean, probably not for the qualifying, I don't think, because it's just... and I think you can still turn up and down engines. I think there's still modes. It's just not that little extra. I think it was to do with electrical energy. I'm not entirely sure. That you can just sort of have a bit more voltage from the battery and everything from the motor. But I hope that it's sort of... I'm not sure. Like, I wonder if it's going to make some overtakes a bit even less likely. If you don't have that bit of... where you have like 2 or 3 laps where you try and store electrical energy and then really go for it in like a lap. If you don't have that anymore, then it's just maybe like even more of you just drive behind the other guy and
like a last lap blunder won't be as possible maybe if you don't have.
Yeah, like that. That's sort of what I was more worried about.
True, for sure. And did you hear on the radio? Like I think it was in a few laps of this race where Bottas was like, "We have one like I think push button or whatever," and they were like, "Oh yeah, but we agreed to not use it against each other." And he was like, "I never heard that," and I was like, "Oh, Valtteri, a little hint of a naughty Valtteri," and then just didn't do anything about it. So
Yeah, it was kind of interesting to see because, like we said before, Valtteri sort of needs to find that like that edge, that like really like commitment and like I don't know, like almost fire in him to like challenge someone like Hamilton. And that was a little glimpse of that to me. It was like a little bit of like I didn't sign up for this. I'm not gonna press the button.
It's just it was not there. I mean, he couldn't do anything against Hamilton. I mean,
no, he definitely couldn't. Right. Now that we talked about that, shall we go
next,
to the qualifying
let's
predictions?
go to Monza.
To Monza.
CC.
What are your qualifying predictions?
So, okay, let's go. I mean, you know what? I'll just go. The only difference I'll put is Hamilton, Bottas, and Ricciardo.
Hamilton, Bottas, and Ricciardo. Did you say? Okay.
Just because, like,
I like that.
straight line speed. I mean, he could be a surprise. I mean, I know Verstappen is insane, but I mean, just the engine is so good that it could just bring it at a bit. I mean, Monza has a bit more straight lines than Spa, so that could make the difference.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I'm going to say Hamilton, Verstappen, and I want to say Ricciardo on third.
That could be interesting. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, Ricciardo on third. Because Verstappen was so close to in qualifying to sort of get P2. Yeah. If he gets it this time around, I don't think Bottas can. Maybe he can because he's got a still better car, but I don't think he can challenge him that much.
And it could be also like the pressure on Bottas, and maybe he just makes some mistakes and
exactly.
And finish Q3 or something.
Yeah, well that exactly. And also Bottas' race starts aren't the most aggressive.
For
so,
sure.
There's
for
hoping.
Sure.
And then I'm hoping Ricciardo can sort of get his nose in there and is third in qualifying. Anyway.
What's a race prediction for you?
Should we do Ferrari stuff first? Or
let's do Ferrari. Sorry, let's do Ferrari. Oh, that's interesting actually.
How far from the top are they gonna go? How close to being reverse first?
Reverse pole.
So last. Yeah, reverse pole. Oh man.
I mean, I'll probably bet on like. It's gonna be sad, man. It's gonna be so sad.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be sad. I'm not gonna be top 10 anyway.
Imagine being like the same season, but with fans and going to Monza.
That's true. I didn't even think about that. The whole COVID thing and not having. I'm so used to not seeing fans anymore.
Imagine
That's kind of weird to watch races from,
but with fans, like full of Ferrari fans, and qualifying like 18th.
That atmosphere would be so rough. For them. Yeah, that's crazy.
I hope next year. Go for it. What's your prediction for that?
Yeah, sorry. I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna say 14th for Leclerc.
Mm-hmm.
Leclerc. There we go. And 16th for Vettel.
Okay.
Not gonna make Q2.
Okay.
Not gonna come out of Q1.
I will go a bit wilder. I will go both Ferrari out of Q1. In Q1, so I'll go 15th Vettel and 16th. 16th.
Yes, 16th.
Yeah, 16th and 17th, I guess, yeah. So you don't make Q2.
So Vettel and then 17th Leclerc, or?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
That is insane, but I mean, who knows? At this point, it's like, why not?
Yeah, I feel like that's actually fairly close to what's going to happen. Yeah.
I mean, if one doesn't make out of Q1, that's probably almost accurate, to be fair. Like,
yeah, and
I think both out of Q1 was like it's an insane stat they're gonna break if they go out of Q1, both of them. I think it's, but yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
Race predictions.
There was some interesting stats about Ferrari and sort of like being last and things like that, and hasn't happened in a very, very long time.
Yes.
And it seems likely that it might, which isn't great. It was just crazy.
Seems likely, yeah.
But yeah, race predictions. I'm going to stick with the same. I'm going to say Hamilton, Verstappen, Ricciardo.
Okay.
See how that goes and shapes up. What are your race predictions? Yeah.
I mean, how to not go like boring and stay like Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen. I mean, I would.
You can be boring. I was boring last time round.
You know what? Let's go for. I want to the Cyril Abitbol to get his tattoo. So let's stay with the quali and just they're gonna stay at the same spot. So
Okay. Hamilton, Bottas, Ricciardo.
Oh no! I'll go wild because who cares? I'm not betting any money, so I'll go Hamilton. Bottas has too much pressure, tries to bring on the hit to Hamilton, spins out. So it's Hamilton, Verstappen, Ricciardo.
Okay, nice. I like that. I think this is the first time we probably have something very similar. Ferrari predictions?
Oh my god.
Can they get anywhere from P16? No.
I'll say P15, P16. And I'll
P15?
say I'll keep Vettel in. No, I'll keep. I'll put. I mean, who cares? There's no points involved, so I'll put Leclerc in front because he won last year, so maybe he has a little edge. But
okay, so Leclerc 15th, Vettel 16th.
I mean, that's even. I don't know. I think that's not even realistic because I think there won't be any strategy, so Vettel will have to find his own strategy. So he's going to end up being in front of Leclerc because Leclerc has no clue. So.
Anyway. I think the Vettel strategy is better than the Leclerc strategy so far.
Whatever.
Which is probably the only thing Vettel is better at than Leclerc at the moment.
What would you say?
I'm gonna say they're gonna get overtaken even more. I don't even know who would be behind them. I think the only team that wouldn't overtake them is Williams. I think Williams aren't gonna get there.
They're not that far. I mean, now they can fight with people with them, so that's cool to see.
Williams can finally fight with the team, and it is Ferrari. 2020 is weird. I'm going to say 17th for Leclerc, and 18th for Vettel.
Yep.
Oh, that is sad. God,
that is bad.
I read a comment somewhere saying they should just take the old engines from last year and race with those and just get disqualified in style.
That could be interesting.
That'd be hilarious. Well, if you got to lose at this point, like, I don't know what the fine would be for that. Probably not that much. I don't know. Who cares?
I mean, it would be great.
At least you could probably win the race.
Yeah.
Well, actually, maybe not. The chassis apparently is pretty bad anyway.
Yes.
Just take last year's car.
Yeah. Just bring it out of retirement in this race.
Exactly.
I think there's two news we can mention real quick before we.
Absolutely, go for it.
The track announcements. I think there's one really interesting track announcement, which is the Bahrain outer track, which will be the second Bahrain Grand Prix. Did you see the announcement or didn't see it?
I actually didn't see the announcement. No. When is that?
It's there will be Bahrain, and Abu Dhabi, and then before that there will be. I forgot. Oh God.
Are they? Yeah, because I think they said they confirmed all the circuits for this calendar now.
Yes, I forgot which one it's before Bahrain. Oh God. Anyway.
But the
really interesting one was Bahrain outer track, which should be the shortest, like the fastest lap in F1 history, because it should fastest be like they're expecting to be like 55 seconds or something.
Wow.
Or sub 55, because it's like there's like. I think 10 corners or something, and it's almost only straight lines.
That is crazy.
So it should be super interesting. I think apparently they're going to be like 85 laps or something. So it's going to be super cool.
85 laps? That is insane.
It's a super short. It's a very short lap. So
yeah, because Spa is one of the, if not the longest track, right?
I'm scared of a boring race too. So, but anyway, we'll shall see.
Yeah. I just found it. So it's supposed to be in December, I think. Yeah. 4th to the 6th of December. And it just says outer track, which is hilarious. Have you seen the track?
It's insane. It's almost a novel. It's like it's not a novel, but it's getting there.
I would say it's more like a square almost, or a triangle, but like, yeah, the idea is like you have 4 straights effectively.
Yeah.
And a couple of corners.
I don't know. Wave, yeah.
Very interesting to see. Looks like a great track for Ferrari, high speed, amazing. So that's going to be good. Sorry, I completely missed that. Is that going to be the last race of the season?
That'll be Abu Dhabi to finish, but yeah.
Abu Dhabi, of course. Yeah. I always forget. Amazing Abu Dhabi.
And then the second news was that just Williams got bought by an American investment company. So that's good news. They're gonna keep the Williams name and then they're gonna bring money. So great.
Yeah. I haven't heard anything about changing the team or anything like that. Like
no, it's probably gonna stay like almost the same. Just more money.
Which I think is interesting because it's usually. I mean, I don't quite get like. Obviously, they need investors, and I think they have been struggling since I think BMW was the original engine manufacturer, I think. And then they left, and then since then they've been sort of struggling with getting sponsors and sort of then catching up to, if you don't have enough money, it's hard for you to catch up to the likes of Mercedes and Red Bull and even Ferrari. But yeah, if they're not going to change anything, then it's sort of, I can't see them. I mean, they're safe and they're still there, but I don't know if they're going to get necessarily.
Maybe they'll wait a bit and then see what they do. I think it's probably.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, there's still a lot of announcements to be made, I think.
Yeah.
And for Williams, actually, they're quite lucky that their budget almost matches the new budget anyway for next season.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe it won't be too bad for them. So yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Anyway, that's about it for this week, I guess.
It was good to talk to you, Matt. George.
Good.
I mean, what?
I mean, the guy on the other side of the Zoom call.
And thanks everyone for listening.
Thank you very much.
If you have been listening, yeah, it's great that we have some people that listen to us talk about F1, and I really hope that next week is going to be a bit more fun, a bit more enjoyable in terms of the racing.
Yeah,
and then we'll be back with another cracking episode.
Exciting,
Matt and Rob
full of jokes.
Full of jokes. I think Matt is really going to step up his joke game.
Yeah, I'm going to prepare like a whole beat for the intro. It's going to be insane.
Yeah. We'll just do like a late night show, a bit of stand up, and we'll bring some guests on. See how it goes.
Why not? Yeah, let's just do it.
Exactly. Why not?
Anyway,
all right.
Thank you for watching, listening, and we shall see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.